What's up, Rockstars? Today I am unboxing this, perhaps the largest single box I've ever gotten, but because there's at least one, maybe like 5, like giant minis in this. There's games. It's going to be super exciting, so let's go to... I want to see what's in here. Okay, so crazy angle here, but this is what I have to do to even, like, open this box. Where do they even find a box this big that actually, like, keeps its structure so you can actually, like, ship it? That's impressive. Alright, and they got, like, enough stickers on everything. Yeah, this is a bit much. Normally, it's broken out into smaller boxes, but I wonder if this is actually, like, effective to ship it in a box this big. And, of course, one of the big things that's different between, like, board games and, like, tabletop wargaming, they both tend to have big miniatures nowadays, but and board games are usually pre-assembled. And so you get these, like, just these giant minis that are already built, and so they just cost a fortune to ship and stuff, because they take up so much space. Oh my gosh, there's a box underneath. Imagine that. Let's see, I have no idea exactly what this is going to be like. Gotta avoid hitting my camera here and everything. Oh man, that's a ton. Okay. Whew! Alright. So, not quite all the way filled. Probably saved my back some bringing this upstairs to film. Okay, so, as you can maybe see by now, this is Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse. Super excited for all this. There's even more here. Gonna make a mess of everything. Start taking some of this out. Let's change camera. Alright, so as you can see, it's a big game. There's not a little bit there. So let's go ahead and try and open up this bubble wrap. See how far I get with that. Looks like it might actually, I might not even need a knife here, which would be kind of nice. Just a lot of, like, folding. Okay, hold on. So, we'll just unfold with it on there. There you go, like that. Perfect. Couldn't be better. Uh-oh. There we go. Almost, guys. Okay. Now where does... right here. It's like a puzzle. This one might be like this. Alright. Oh, so excited to show this off. Alright. Now, before I dive into more of this, as a disclaimer, I am working with Creative Game Studio. They are the one that makes Chronicles of Drunagor, they make Dante, all that. I'm working with them pretty much across the board to help with minis, to help with rules, to help with packaging, campaigns, all that kind of stuff. So, just as an FYI, if you feel that's important, or if you feel that changes anything, by all means, feel that way. And that's totally fine. Everybody will judge that based off themselves. Okay, so, right now, the box size, I mean, I like the wrapping. It seems fairly thick, right? Like, this is nice. This one is the actual game itself here by the looks of it. You get the adventure rule book and the interactions here, some game pieces. I don't see the 3D elements, like the part to put it 3D. I don't know if that's in here or not. We'll look at that in a second. And then the Standee version of the Riders of the Apocalypse, right? The 4 Horsemen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then, of course, minis as well. And it looks like maybe some other slight Standees as well. So there's a few other things. It almost looks like, yeah, I'm not sure how they decide Standee versus not there. So 4 boss Standees and 2 double-faced boss boards, 19 monster miniatures, 226 cards, 28 unique maps, 28 folded doors. And see, they're not really showing the folded doors and stuff. It's kind of a weird way to show it off here. 37 Standees, 90 skill upgrade tiles, 13 plastic bases, 12 card dividers, 2 bridge tiles, and then more than 120 game tokens, so 121, I'm kidding, I don't know how many. 1 campaign notepad, an adventure book, and a rules and interaction book. And then a little bit about the game, fake shadow, and then a little bit here as well. So see how they integrate this expansion in your game. This QR code thing, I want to do more with them with this. I think this is a great thing that games need to start doing. I've seen some companies dabble in it a little bit. They've done it a fair bit. They did it with all their doors, so that when you open the door, if you wanted, you could see either errata or you could see a harder version, I think is what they did. So it's like if you scan the QR code, instead of what's printed on there, you follow the instructions on the web page. But I think game companies could do that a lot just to help with a variety of things. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to unwrap the other ones and then we'll cut back to this. We're going to go ahead and unbox this, but then we'll get to the rest. All right, so we have this. We have another big box expansion, 2 small box expansions, and then a big box that's just full of minis. So that's what we're going to kind of do, probably in about that order. Let's go ahead and put it up. This guy looks freaking sweet, by the way. I like the that they made him pale skin like that, so it really contrasts with his armor. That's really cool. All right. Box lifts up pretty okay. Sometimes when it gets really tall like this, it can get kind of difficult. You can't always put a little hole in there, like a little needle. Like not a hole, I guess maybe a little bit more than that, but enough for air so it doesn't get so super suctioned. But I wasn't able to lift the box. Like I think with Black Rose Wars, for instance, I was able to like lift the box and it's like coming up and stuff like that. A few of those have been like that. That wasn't too bad. Inside of the box is just kind of plain. It's got an interesting smell to it. I don't normally notice that. You can't smell it, but I can. Anyway, this is obviously quite sturdy, so good for the size there, not too flimsy. You know, it gives it a little bit, and that's actually kind of helpful to actually lift it up. You don't want necessarily too much, or it's like super firm. Like you want one or the other a little bit. I do see some odd coloration here, though. It looks like little rub spots almost. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe this moving around ever so slightly. I'm not sure. They do have a little bit of a foam pad spacer here. Actually, very nice foam. Not bad at all. I'll use this to ship one of your guys' games out. Let's see here. Amplify your Chronicles of Drunagor. Age of Apocalypse core box adventure with foreteller audio narration. So now they have foreteller, which in the first one wouldn't have been too bad. In this one, it's a lot more of a story, like a legit story with, I mean, the first one was great too, and I enjoyed the whole story a lot, but in this one, it's particularly, they've amped it up, and so the foreteller, I imagine, adds a lot to that. Elevate your gameplay experience with easy-to-use foreteller app, join the fight against darkness, explore Drunagor, and save the world. So it's over 5 hours of professional audio narration, thematic music, and foley, which is like, footsteps or raindrops and stuff like that, delivered by a global cast of actors. Includes 18 immersive chapters with curated music and foley, with over 15 professional voice actors bringing the land of Darren to life. Very cool. Foreteller does a great job with a lot of this stuff, so that's cool to see that. All right, then we have what looks to be a boss card. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at them as well. We're just gonna go top to bottom, unless miniatures aren't the bottom, in which case I will wait for the miniatures at the end. I'll probably be spending a little bit of time on those. This is manufactured by E-Star, and E-Star has come a long way in what they've been able to do, so that's awesome to kind of see that improvement over time. We're gonna zoom in a little bit here for you. There you go. So we got the Death Horsewoman. That's funny that they actually note that. So it's this chick riding the giant dragon thing that they have there. Very cool that it's like purplish and you got some like almost aqua there and stuff like that. That's really cool. I do see a little bit of, I don't know if this is like a feeder mark or something where it's like processing. A little bit there, a little nick here. Nothing too bad. There is a little bit of a texture to it, a slight linen finish. Not like super smooth or anything. Then you have the War Horsewoman. Then you have the Famine Horseman and the Plague Horseman. So even Stevens on that. Looks like their health goes up to 900. I've fought in this one before, and it is something else. So they have some text to read. I would have liked... And again, I wasn't involved with this nearly as much. I'm a little bit more involved with Dante, but again, only I just I just give them feedback. I would have liked to see this just as dark as that, to be honest. They lighten this and they lighten this as well, but I actually can read this easier than that, especially far away. So I would have actually liked to see that a little bit darker. Personal opinion there. Just even it out, actually. I think that'd look just fine. Otherwise, the texture on it, the parchments could have... A lot of times I do like these kind of like water or sepia stains. I'm glad it's just kind of a texture and general shading. It's cool to have the art come over. You see a little bit of a drop shadow there. All that looks really good. You can read this, or at least I can, so that's good. Except that the H isn't capital in Horsemen. I mean, I think for them it's gonna act like that because it's big, but I would have preferred to see the capital H. I know I don't even know if they picked the font type super much or not, but I would have liked that. For the Horsemen, that's a big deal. So the capital H, I think, would be a big thing. The rest of it looks great, by the way. I like that. Sickening aura. This one has a commanding aura for war. Plague has sickening. Okay, that makes sense. And then death has nothing except probably raw damage with that dragon thing. And then this one, the famine one, has a weakening aura. Interesting that the aura on this one is on the bottom instead of the top. I'm not sure exactly why they picked that. And then they have this kind of like something head start thing. So you fight this, I believe, early on. I said this in my review a little bit, so it's not really a spoiler there. And I think that's kind of what that is. That, and you can see it right there. Essentially, you get to kind of jump ahead a little bit. So that's those two. Interesting that those are kind of on the top there like that. We have this big old adventure book. It is all wrapped, so I appreciate that. It's kind of nice. We're going to go ahead and probably just go to the end here and try and open it that way. Trying to be as careful as possible while also being considerate of the time you guys have to watch this unboxing, which is going to be big, by the way. In case you didn't notice the timestamps down below, you're welcome for that. Thank you to my editor for that, of course. Or, the actual length of the video itself. This is a big game, and I'm pretty detail-oriented when it comes to looking at a lot of this stuff. So just, I guess, be prepared for that. Also, yeah, hey, I actually even pay my editor, so if you want to support the channel, there are costs to run in it, and I would greatly appreciate your support. I love how stark white this is, actually. I really like that. I mean, I know people want to be really thematic with everything, make it look like it's on like an old scroll or whatever, but there's something to be said about just simple, I can actually read this. And it makes it, like, these colors here, this like orangish red, pop. Really good. These are all super clear. Everything's looking really good there. Don't read that if you want like a spoiler or something like that, obviously. She's smiling. Everybody else is upset. She's like, I love this. Yay, death. Okay, so we got our credits. We got our table of contents. That's going to be the headers broken out and the page number. A QR code right up front said, didn't find what you were looking for? Our team is here to help. Contact our customer service using this QR code. So right there at the beginning there, you can scan that to actually do that. That's awesome. I love to see that. Got Act 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then some interactions at the end. And then some kind of, here's how this works, right? Understanding the campaign and whatnot. Yeah, this looks great. It's so clear. It's really, really nice. Like, it just looks good. I'm looking forward to actually reading this. They do have coloring, right? They do have different boldness and stuff like that. I haven't seen any call-out boxes yet, but again, this is just kind of the adventure book here, so it's not like the whole thing. Going to an actual like setup. I know I only saw that. The number pages are really easy to see. I actually kind of like them towards the corner, just because then I can do like this, and it's a little bit harder to do this. But it's not a huge major thing, and at least it's symmetrical. Again, this is really nice too. It actually shows like the overlap and stuff, or any like it shows the table space. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it's actually showing me. Oh, look at that. Look how easy that folded in like that. That is great. So it actually shows. There you go. How much table space you need in centimeters. Like, I'm gonna measure like 132. Like, I don't know. I'm a big inches fan, but that's all right. Everybody can use centimeters. But that's kind of nice to see. And note it's bigger here, but I'm assuming because this door opens up, right? And so there's probably a little more here, but then I don't know what's here. Maybe it then goes this way, or I'm not sure. It's just cool to see that they They give you the measurement, because when it's expanding really big like that, that can be a very difficult thing, where sometimes, it just keeps going to the right, so then you have to shift everything, and it's really annoying, so that's kind of nice to see. So, yeah, it looks great. There's cutscenes, and then an end of the adventure, so there's several different cutscenes that can happen in between, so you're getting story while playing the game. I love that. That's super cool. All right, so we're not going to look any more in the adventure book. I don't want to spoil anything for myself, if nothing else. So to comment on how cool that art is. Looking at this, though, this is kind of interesting. It's actually different art. I never noticed that. So you'll notice this has like some wisps, and this does not. This just has a glow in there. And then you'll notice like the jawline here and the jawline here are different. So that's kind of cool to see that it's actually a little bit different. I don't know if it's a different artist or what, but that's cool. I dig that. The bottom jaw is a little bit different. Look at that. I never noticed this. So in here, the bottom jaw is like a little bit more pronounced, I would say. I don't know. I guess about the same. Either way, it's cool to see the difference there. Interesting. Okay. Moving that to the side. And we are going to get... Ooh, okay, so this is wrapped. But right underneath it is not. So here is the... Okay. Rules and interactions. What is this? Okay, same thing. Okay. All right. This feels a little bit more loosely wrapped. It could just be because it's longer, I guess. But, I mean, it's no longer than that is tall. So, except the binding, I guess there's more space between the binding and the end of the book. That's probably the real difference there. And if they did it too tight, you start to get curls and stuff. So, this is probably actually a really good, compromise to it, right? Because I've gotten some that are so tight that, like I said, that the corners of the books are like bending up a little bit, and it actually ends up damaging what it's trying to protect. Just kind of ironic. It's like a metaphor there or something. If you control things too tightly, you actually break what you're trying to... I don't know. Ancient Chinese proverb or something. Okay. Got it out. Get off me. All right, let's zoom in a little bit on this. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about how long this is. It's definitely an abnormal length for a rule book. Let's see if there's a purpose for that or not. So again, we got the credits, rules and interactions here. I don't know, just the title. Then we have the contents. So again, we have this, and again, we have the customer. I was going to see if this was here. I was like, it'd be kind of weird if it was only in the adventure book. It's in both. And then here we have the content breakdown. So the headers, subheaders, and the page number. What's interesting I'm noticing right away is there's a new conditions, keywords, and terms dictionary. So if you have played the first one, this will have a really nice new condition saying, hey, here's what's new, here's what's different. That's really cool. I dig that. We're going to flip from that to the back to check for my favorite thing, an index, to see how that looks here. Okay, so on the back, and this is okay if this is how it is. Often you'll be checking this a little bit longer than an index, actually, hopefully. The game isn't too complicated. The first one wasn't. But there's a lot of different sound effects and stuff, right? A lot of this is like, obviously, that's a bookshelf, a stone pillar, a stone fountain. So I don't know exactly how useful this is, per se. This one's good, like which ones are idols and not. That one looks a little dark, a little bit harder to see than these. But a lot of these like are very obvious, I feel, right? Maybe a vent, not, but like a bear trap or a chest. I don't know what that is. So I don't know how useful that is. Some more game symbols here. Tokens sorted by type. So you have redundant conditions, stackable resource tokens, right? Redundant resource tokens. Redundant just means you can only have like one copy of it, right? Okay, and then in here, looks like we have a glossary. Now this... So an index and a glossary are different, obviously. A glossary tells you a little bit about something. Sometimes it'll give you a page number. Like I see a page number here, but I don't necessarily see one here. But it's still in alphabetical order. It's just there's more pages. But if they're not listing all the pages, it's not an index. So in other words, if I need to learn about what self is, but I need like some more definition, I might not get enough there. And so I might need more. They do have pictures here and stuff to show. That's cool. So let's see. So we got some notes here. That's kind of interesting to see. And they're very noticeable with the blue. Again, when it's glossary, it's a whole lot. But we're in the B's, so we're close. Oh, new condition, keywords, and term victories. Oh, they're in trouble. I do not see an index. Hold on, wait. There might be one. These are all the points of interaction, so we don't want to spoil that. Okay. No. Okay, so no index. So they should know better than that. Always put an index in, even if it's a simple one, a one-pager. There's no problem with that. You know, like one column, like here's our index. Like it's easy to do. And at least what I like about an index is I know when I've read everything there is about something. So sometimes I'll read something and it seems to answer my question, but that doesn't necessarily mean I've read everything, because there might be something later on that says, in this case, do this, where it's not listed there. I'm not saying their rulebook even necessarily needs that, but it's always a reassuring thing as a player to be like, oh, I read page 13, 27, and 6. And I don't know why it would be listed in that order. It shouldn't be. But the point is, once I've read those 3, I know everything there is to know about that. And I very much appreciate that. Also, I find glossaries only limitingly helpful. Often, I'm the kind of guy that reads the rulebook front to back. So every single word in this rulebook I've read. And so typically if I have a question, it's something more specific than necessarily just a glossary, which is like, movement is how many movement points you have. You can move up to your movement. Like, if I need more than that, obviously. So often I don't find glossaries to answer my questions anyway. Personal opinion, I know other people do things differently. Again, this is all clear. This is not stark white. There is a like a texture and the symbols in the back here. It's still very much, it's still very contrasty, which I do appreciate that. It's also interesting to see that they kind of make things fuzzy at times. So see how like crisp this is? And then this image here is really fuzzy. And if you saw that very first interaction, so I guess minor spoilers, but again, it's like just right there in the rulebook. There's no warning or anything. I think there was one. Either way, you can see that. Yeah, maybe I won't show it. Either way, this is one of the art pieces for a point of interaction. I remember it specifically. I remember this guy specifically and where I was specifically, which is kind of cool. I think the art helps with that. Anytime that you're not just reading something, but you're actually seeing it and like interacting, it's very cool. Anyway, it's not fuzzy like that, so it's interesting that they do that. I saw that before on one of the stamps. These renders look fantastic. My goodness. So anyway, hopefully bookshelf, so a little bit on each one of these. Hopefully it's good. Again, I think if they added an index, I'd be happy. And I'm not a big fan of how wide this is. It's nice because when you're reading it, you're typically like, it's like right in front of you, right? If you're going to read it and set it down on the table, in which case this is just like a little sliver. So that's kind of nice. But when it comes to like leafing through, it's very easy to fold these pages too strongly as you're trying to leaf through it. And it's a much bigger action to flip this than to flip a taller one, right? And so you end up just moving your arm more to flip everything. Hopefully that makes sense. So either way, I'll let you know what I like and don't like else about this rulebook once I read it in my review. Stay tuned for that. Okay. Moving on. I know you guys love a deep and detailed rulebook discussion. Love this. So first of all, they printed it off. Thank you so much for printing it off. I always appreciate that. Second of all, multiple copies. Look at this. I can play this game more than once. It's actually a very common scenario for me. I remember back when I played, it wasn't Darkest Dungeon. It was Descent 2nd Edition. I had multiple campaigns going. I had one with just my family, like my wife and kids. And I had one with my parents and brother in as well. So I was running 2 campaigns at the same time. And if you don't give me multiple of these, then I can't, it makes it harder. I end up like putting an Excel sheet or whatever. Or if you just give me one of these, I won't use it. I'll still write it down electronically somewhere or on paper. Because I don't want to ruin the one copy I have. Obviously, I mentioned you can also download these as PDFs. I'll verify that for you guys, but I imagine it's there on their website or BGG or something like that, maybe even both. But yep, multiple of these. It's not front and back or anything like that. So you get your unfoldings and epilogues broken down by act. You have your statuses during the next camp phase, outcomes. So it looks like during this, you might end up having multiple of these during a campaign, if that makes sense. Because there's current boss fight health, right? So this is like a save sheet if you need to real quick. Stats, stuff like that. More than like a whole campaign where you're tracking the whole thing necessarily. So I have a mix between the two there. Okay. So now in this, we have the tokens here. Often they're wrapped like this. And notice there is a little bit, this pretty tight wrap. You can see it's a little folded there, and it is bent a little bit, so we'll see how that is. But the reason they wrap it like this is because now they have one item for the picking and packing to put in. right? Everybody gets this one item. If this was loose, or even if there was multiple of them, often you're going to miss one. You know, they're going to grab 5 instead of 6, or they're going to grab 2 of one, or, you know, so either way, like, it's nice when it's just one thing. Here you go, all the tokens in there. Look at all the storage here in a moment here, but let's go ahead and take a look at some tokens here. It's not the tightest wrap. I'm not seeing too much like deformity or anything like that, but it is a fairly tight one, which again, it's always... there's no right or wrong necessarily amount. You just kind of have to play it by ear and see which one you like and don't like. Now this right here, this kind of twist wrapping, I don't think is on purpose. So, and see the seam kind of goes on here. So I think they kind of put this one a bit rushed, or it was like, I don't know, somehow oddly on the table, or I don't know exactly how they do it in the factory, but either way, I don't think that's normal. That means this is still quite thick. I've been impressed with that. That's been nice. All right, why don't we actually see how thick these tokens are? All right, so we got quite a few trays here. Looks like we have some tokens here. We have some walkways and stuff like that. It looks like they fit into some things. I think they lock into the trays, but I'm not exactly sure. Classes, Commanders and Overlords chests, camp items, adventure items, and bosses. Looks like these are card organizers. That's super cool. And I love the slash so you can visually see kind of what they are as well. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we'll have to try that out. I'm going to take a look at the Standees here. And this is a great idea of theirs. They have some gigantic minis. And while obviously I think that if you have the money and the space, you should definitely make this as fight like as impactful as possible. And that means not using Standees, right? But a big giant miniature. There's definitely a reaction there. Quick example. So I'm first starting to get into board games. So my families are just now learning about it. We're playing Descent 2nd Edition. It was like one of my first games I ever owned. And I paint up the shadow dragons. That's the first thing I do. It's my first miniatures I've painted really ever to completion. And so I paint those up, black with like a green glow on them or whatever. And I preset it up. And so my family comes over or my family comes to the table to play the game. And I plop those guys down. And instantly, everybody's reaction was, whoa, what are those? Oh, crap, we're screwed. Like, it was this huge reaction that every single person at the table had, where they're like, oh my gosh, because this big old dragon, big, right? For Descent 2nd Edition, it was big at the time. And so this will get similar kind of reaction, but trust me, if you put the mini there, you will get a different reaction. In fact, if you can paint it and you paint it and put it down there, you get an even different reaction. It just gets more and more and more of a, oh my gosh, kind of reaction, which is super cool to see. So anyway, this my 2 cents there. Looks like we got some trail stuff going on there or something like that. Looks like we have 2 more. We have gray monsters. So ones that aren't painted, and white monsters. I'm kidding. No, those are the 2 like difficulty levels there. And then that's not his butt. That's not the back. That's I think the front, and his head would like come out here. The rest of the body essentially. So and then there's that little flag thing as well. We got more and more and more. Lots of cardboard. Lots of these different tokens and stuff like that. Obviously some of these are bigger than others. Yeah. See, I mean, look at this thing. Dang! That's big. And then here we have all the little things you can get. So you can get, let's look at some of these. Outrageous Charge, Ward, Double Cleave, Brutal Strike, Cautious Strike, War Chief's Crush, Battle Concentration, Autumn Blow, Winter Strike, Spring Bounty, Summer Hunt, Battle Concentration, Cat's Gift, Predatorious Urge, Booming Throw, Savage Throw, King of the Hill, Deepwood Chant, Song of Regrowth. And notice the chant and song are blue. That must have to do with the class that's using them. Stand Your Ground, To Place, Endure the Pain, Riot. So a whole bunch of these different ones. And then there's even more. Look at that. I love the skill and the level up system in Chronicles of Drunagor. One of my all-time favorites. It's just so much fun. Song of Whispers, again, another blue. Divine Plea, Battle Concentration. I think there was another Battle Concentration. There was. This is Self, Focus 2, and Cleanse 1. This Battle Concentration. Self, Focus 2, and Cleanse 1. So the exact same thing. So this one, Battle Concentration, is, I think, the Path of Nature here. And this Battle Concentration, if I know which one it is the Path of Mystics. So 2 different classes get that, essentially. So that's kind of cool to see. So you can see kind of what all these are here. Stuff like that. So very cool. There's a ton here. Scorch. Oh, another Battle Concentration. That's a very common... Oh, you know what? No, I think that's If I remember right, actually, that's one everybody gets. So you have some kind of like heal and buff thing, right? It helps in the game to have that available for everybody, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and punch some of these out. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to build some of them. We're just going to have a good grand old time. So let's go ahead. We're going to do a variety of things. So let's do these obviously first. So there are definitely tags there that'll hold it in place. When they're actually poked out, it looks like they're kind of medium a little bit. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see this token a little bit better. There you go. So I would say like this one barely shows up. Like that one's not too bad. This one even less so. This one isn't too bad. That one's not too bad. This one's not too bad. This one, it looks like it kind of dented a little bit there. See how the difference between that one? Make sure you see, now I'm all zoomed in. See the difference between this tag and this tag? Obviously, this one was a little bit rougher on the image. Nothing too bad. It is front and back here, so that's kind of cool to see. I dig that. But I mean, either way, it's not really bad. The smoothness is really nice. The firmness is actually great. So I would call it like the spongy test, right? So there are some where it's not packed super tight, and so you can actually end up seeing a whole bunch of like layer lines where you can go ahead and take your tokens out next time and see which games are like this or not. You'll notice they are barely visible here. This is very compressed, right? And that also means that when I squeeze it, there's a little bit of give, but not too bad. You can get these thick enough to where, or like condensed enough, compressed enough to where they almost feel like wood. This is pretty close. It's not quite, but this feels a lot more like a piece of wood than a piece of cardboard necessarily, because it's so compressed. This is actually really good cardboard. One of the reasons E-Star is actually pretty good with that. Even Archon, I believe, uses E-Star for their tokens. Because their cardboard is pretty good. Look at that, it even pops right back in there just fine. Take out one of those. Again, it looks like they tend to have one strong one. In fact, you can even see that here. Look at this. So what they're doing is they have very minimal, and then they have one like right there, right? So if I poke this out, it's going to hang there. I mean, I could push it out more. And then smooth, there's a little tiny bit right there. But it's very tiny, like unnoticeable. And then they have the one right there. So dig that. Front and back look fine. On the back is a straight, right? Because it kind of presses in there, so it bends this slightly. So one test you can do is start doing this. And what this will do is on some, notice it's not really doing it on this one, which is really nice. So on some, and this is my first time experiencing this. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to run into. You'll see it flaking off, and it'll start showing up as white, right? And you'll see little specks of the color, like on your table. I've shown this in other ones before. So this is very, very nice. Like, these are great. These are really good. Look, it puts right back in there. You're not, like, bending and everything like that. Okay, so these are really good to test. If I see a bigger one, I'll test it. For now, I'll test this one. Sometimes if you get a really long, skinny thing in there, oh, look at the guys. I am impressed. This is really good cardboard. Like, E-Star has, again, they're improving all the time. There are a lot of companies that make these games that I don't think, like actually manufacture them, aren't really progressing. They've been kind of the same spot for a while, but E-Star has come a long way, especially in their cardboard. My goodness, this is nice. I mean, that popped right out. I was just saying, sometimes it starts to split and stuff like that. I wonder if I can even get that to split. Yep, okay, so see, when you get something like that, often you can start splitting at least the top layer off. So, as you can see, a little bit of layers there. It actually almost looks like... Is there just 3 layers? Is that why I'm not seeing layer lines? I want to say there's 2 layers in there. Maybe this is not separating. So there's the top layer that they, paint and is nice and all that. And the bottom layer, or, vice versa. And then that sandwich in between. Almost looks like there's just 3. Like, and it's just a really thicker piece. It's nice. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Let's take one like this. Try and poke them out. See how that works. Okay, didn't even separate, so that's nice. Let's try, it looks like a tiny bit of a white thing there. Doing it the other way. This is not what you're supposed to do. Maybe it is what you're supposed to do. That was... Am I doing it wrong this whole time? I think I am, because it's like way harder that way. Let me try... Hold on, I'm going to reset it. Okay. Try doing it this way again. Oh, I guess it's about the same. Either way, nice. Okay, cool. Okay, so then the question is, how do they fit in? I don't know if I have anything to... Oh, yeah, here, like right here. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's go ahead. Punch this out. There we go. So then this, I think, would go like this. So it is pretty tight. I will say that. I think this is probably a bottom one, maybe? Well, we'll keep checking it. Well, we're going to see what's going on here. I highly suggest you get something like this to poke through it, though, than just your fingernails, because often your fingernails will do a little bit. So there was a little bit, you see right there, where it started to kind of peel up from the pressure. I'm going to try opening them the other way and see if that's better. I don't know exactly, like, is this supposed to be up here? I don't know. That's where I'm going to put it. How about that? Try and stop me. Can't. Whoever designed this and didn't want it like this is, like, cringing right now. Like, what are you doing, you idiot? Maybe it's not supposed to go. Maybe I'll read some instructions, huh? You want to try that? Okay, we'll do that. All right, so let's move on from that. Dear Lord. You know, this Geek and Sun table, right? Cool and all, but these, like, gaps here, right? Like, I just love this kind of stuff. I'm not even going to put it in there because I'll cry, but it's not the smoothest surface. Not the smoothest. Oh, there goes one in the crack. Gosh dang it. All right. So the only thing else we have in here, obviously, the big guy. And, oh, now you're coming back out again. That's fine. And then let's do someone that's like a sword like this. There we go. So they do have a little bit of surrounding. However, it's not white. I appreciate the fact that it's not white or a solid color. It definitely helps them blend in. However, to make them stand out, they still have a little bit of a glow. Do you see that? So they have this like soft, like outer glow to them, which actually really helps. So they still stand out. In fact, they stand out really well. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but that's actually really good. Like, they did a good job on the level of contrast there. And it looks like more or less they're all like that. It almost looks slightly different per person. What I mean by that is, do you see how far of a glow this is, but how strong or how not strong it is? And you get one like this, which is a very tight one that is a lot brighter, but then doesn't go out as far. And I don't know what the difference is there or not. Also, it looks like this was folded a little bit there. That's kind of interesting to see. But otherwise, they all look fine. Okay, so anyway, that's a lot of the different kinds there. We're going to organize a little bit, and look at some of the terrain stuff here. Pops out just fine, no problem at all. Okay, I'll try doing it this way again. You guys tell me which way is the right way. I would love to hear your thought. Oh, probably not this way. now that I'm using it, yeah. See, that's just like that is not coming out. What about this way? Nope, still not. My goodness. Come on. Let me get my knife. I'll do it. You just gotta really try. Boom. Okay, that was a little bit more involved there. Come on. Jeez. Oh no, that's why I'm not taking out the right spot. I'm just damaging my product. Don't worry about me, guys. Just really wanted to get that on camera so that you guys could see me goof up. That's important. Okay. So, yeah, there's like a line right there, and I was trying to like no, it's right there. Okay, anyway, moving on from that embarrassment. There's not really any other new tokens besides that here. Again, this looks fine. It gets a little weak here, right? So just, don't like try and like bend it too much. That's where it'll break, but there you go there. All right, I'm going to try and punch this out. Okay, well, some other things came out. All right, look at that. So it did split that, as you can see, right there. But otherwise, this came out just fine. We're going to zoom out a little bit because we're getting big here. All right, so yeah, I'm just going to make a mess. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I've decided to do. That's my decision. All right, let's poke them out. And then finally, get out of here. These, again, poke out just fine. Okay, that's all the cardboard I'm going to poke poke out. Let's build this guy. Okay, so I'm guessing it's just like so. Okay, and then this, I believe, would go onto a base. I think it might be the base that I was goofing on, but I'm not certain. Actually, it doesn't like it'd be big. Yeah, it's not going to be big enough. So I'm not sure which base it is. Oh, I bet it's the big one. I bet it's this one right here. I bet so. I bet I'm right. Okay, let's poke out just the ones I need here. Dear Lord. All right. So it looks like it goes on just like this. This is probably to the same scale, so you can see how big the miniature is going to be. We will get to that here soon. All I've seen of that is I caught some of its wing in the box. So like I saw it, like I caught a glimpse of it, not like I cut it on a box or anything like that. And you're looking at it from a really high level. My head's right around here, so it looks a little bit better to me than it does to you right now. I'm seeing it kind of like that. Okay, so either way, yeah, it's not fuzzy or anything like that. It's really cool. Definitely a big. I mean, so if you look at the person, I got a person here, didn't I? Like that's the difference there, right? You are mouth sized. You are fun sized to this to this one. All right, so I assembled this off camera because it took me a few attempts. I definitely had to refer to the art. It does look like it fairly goes a certain way. At least it went better when I matched the art with like the door in front here, this like broken column on the left here, and then the other two follow kind of suit from that. But as you can see, even bigger and it stands just fine now. So there is that. All right. Let's try and clean up a little bit here. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We got some trays. So this is very much like their old one, where they have these kind of like black trays with like nice locking lids on and everything. Very much kind of like what you would get from, you know, a lot of third-party companies that make these kind of trays, but it's not branded in that. It's, I think, just what E-Star does or is able to do. So obviously tokens will go in here. Let me get a few tokens and let's see. Okay. So, they'd go in, looks like kind of like that. And there's some bigger spots here. I think that's probably for these. All right, so that's kind of how that looks like. You would just put that on. And I think when they're full, it should be fine. What I'm worried about here, though, I think it might be... Actually, no, because look, it's flat here. So luckily, they made it flat here, so it can't, like, fall to the bottom and then slide down. And it wouldn't be able to pass this anyway. So there's a lot keeping it there in place. Very smartly designed. Looks like it works quite well. All right, so we got that. We have some of this. These are the tiles here. Looks like there's some more. Oh, there's minis. Okay, so let's see if we can't avoid the minis. So how to get these out? What is are they separate? What's going on here? Are they just like, oh my gosh. All right, yeah, I'm cool. There you go. All right, minis. We'll look at those later. Calm down. Look at some of these map tiles. So what's nice about their map tiles, it's first of all easy open, thank you very much, is that because they're just like this flat paper, kind of like the boss cards we saw, they can have a whole freaking bunch of them. They can have a whole bunch because they're not having to put them on big cardboard. Because instead you're essentially reusing the cardboard by having a plastic tray. I've often wondered if other companies could learn a bit from that. Not in that they need necessarily like tiered 3D big terrain like what Chronicles of Drunagor does, or what Creative Game Studios really does for most of their games and under that brand. But the reason I say that is because when you do that, you have to make it once, and then you're done. And then everything else can just slot into there. And it would make it so much easier to make a whole bunch front and back of all of these different things. You can have different points of interest on the map, and you don't even have to have a token for it. It's just part of the map. You can custom build a lot of maps this way just by having this, right? And that's really nice because this is a lot cheaper than a big, thing of cardboard, and a lot less storage. right? It saves on a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot of benefits there. I'm going to be making a video on accessibility of games, like when it comes to readability and tactile interaction and color blindness and stuff like that, right? But I've been thinking of doing one about sustainability as well. I think that might be kind of interesting. Not that I'm particularly thinking that board games are going to end the world. I think there's a lot bigger problems that are a lot easier to solve, that are much more meaningful than like the 0.00001% that board games affect. But it's still kind of an interesting thing to say. And it's like, well, you know, there's a lot of other benefits besides just that, because it's also just how much space does it take up and whatnot, right? So, I mean, there's a ton here. And you saw, it looks great. They all have their, they're all numbered here, which helps, right? There's a slight glare. I get this all the time with like this kind of slight linen finish, my opinion, but it's not too bad. There's some symbols. You'll see some of the symbols here. For that denotes, I believe, where like spawns and stuff interact. You'll see a little bit of 3D here, right? These like columns look like they're going down here. The statue looks like it's going down. They're all casting shadows and whatnot, right? There's some like wisps of smoke and stuff like that. You'll see that in a lot of these different things. Or there is the grid line here, and sometimes I think, like in this one, the grid line doesn't seem to take too much away because it's just these big open tiles. But here there's a lot of little details. And so when you see this, and it's broken down by these thick lines and then these thinner lines, it does hurt the image quality a little bit, right? It's a little bit harder to see what you're looking at there. Additionally, there's spikes going both ways, which just make it look like it's almost like a reflection on that particular piece. But the fact, again, that you can have stuff like this and either have an entrance or have a point of interest or something like that, very cool to see. I love these. I think that's great. So that slid in right here, like this. That's how these went in. Now there's a lot of extra space here, so I don't know if there's room for adding more or not. We will see. But we're going to set these minis aside, and we'll get to that. Here we have a whole bunch of more. Oh my goodness, whole bunch more for storage and stuff. So I'm wondering if this is meant to hold a lot of the other stuff in it. That's what it almost seems like to me. So again, the locking trays. So you have this indentation here, or protrusion there, the indentation here. And what makes it lock is it's angled. So it's not straight down. It actually kind of angles a little bit, so that it actually has to kind of like flex up, because this has, first of all, this is quite thick, very nice. But there's a little bit of flex there, less in the corners. And so that's what kind of, you actually snap it in place. So very secure, very nice. I love the symbol they have going on here as well. So one thing I'm noticing that's kind of nice as well, and I've seen some companies do that. First of all, I love the black. I love that it's not crinkly or anything like that. I'm not seeing any tears or breaks or anything, which is nice. This, as you can see, quite firm. Like this part here is super solid extra. Like these sides only somewhat. They do have these here. This lip here is actually to kind of help keep it in place in the box, but it looks pretty nicely done too. A little bit of a dent there, where it's not going to actually move and scrape. If they hold their shape, they should be good. But all the numbers here, so they've numbered everything here, and they have symbols here. So it'll be nice and organized just kind of naturally. Also, if you want, you can paint in these. Like this, I mean, you'll want to probably do one that primes and paints, like a base coat from Citadel or a 70.xxx from Vallejo, stuff like that, where you can just paint directly on here, so you don't have to like prime it or anything. But you could paint in these; it would show up really good. It looks like this is where all of your level up cards, like not cards, but your little tokens and stuff, those would go in there. And again, they would just kind of stack and be full. That's kind of what that is. You can stay there. So there is a little bit of dust that I'm noticing from the box that is crept up. That's the inside of this box here. A quick wipe down would work, or you don't have to worry about it. It's whatever you want. Okay, so on this bottom one, looks like we've got some cards here. We'll take a look at that. Love these easy opens. So far, this has been a very nice experience to open this. This has been great. My opinion, hot take here. You guys let me know what you think. Part of what you're buying with a Kickstarter like this, where there's a game like this that honestly can't really fully operate outside of Kickstarter or GameFound or just crowdfunding in general, simply because of how bombastic it is, right? How big it is and stuff like that. The quality of it, it'd be very expensive at retail.
Not to say they couldn't manage, but you'd need to be pretty popular of a game to be able to manage that. It's the experience of opening it up and getting all this stuff. So, my opinion here. Okay, so this is a door. So what this means is essentially you fold it like that. That's your door. This is chapter 11, the Hungry Fortress. Door number 4. And so you actually slot it into the end, and it actually stands up. It looks like a door or a pathway between buildings, right? So they'll be themed differently depending on where you're at. So it all kind of matches. But then you open it up, and you have, do you tempt the hand of fate? You can scan this QR code. But using this QR code, you will be directed to our door database where new challenges await you. So replayability, huge. Tougher challenges, if you're really good at the game, are definitely there. And this could be included to expand even more than necessarily that. In fact, I envision a time where you send the QR code and it looks kind of like a link tree. So you have then options like tougher challenge, easier challenge, top voted, I don't know, like top voted player made, right? Where you can actually craft your own scenarios and rooms and kind of map it yourself or something. I mean, there's a whole lot of potential there. That's really cool. And then it kind of says what you're doing. Who knows what that means, but that's what you're doing there. So like here's chapter 3, the old way. And so again, same thing, fold it in here. This one shows a bit better because I think that other one was a boss. So you can go through here, and when you go through here, it actually tells you a little story. Again, you're getting story throughout this game. And then here's how it sets up, right? That's where you're starting. This is where you're going. Here's where people are and enemies are and stuff. Special preparations, end game triggers, stuff like that. So there's all sorts of stuff. And that's what all of this is, which is just, again, such a fun way to do things. I really like it. I hope more companies figure out good ways like this to actually get story into your gameplay. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is I haven't seen a silica packet, so hopefully that means when they're transported with like weather conditions controlled and stuff like that, which you can certainly do. Now, we got some Standee tokens, got a whole bunch of areas for some different things, some minis, and very sticky cards. All right, let's open these up. So this is going to be all your items and all sorts of other fun stuff. So I'm excited for this one. Go. And this one. Oh, coming undone. Right there. Okay. Lots and lots of cards. We're going to have to zoom in a little bit on these. These are smaller cards, which I've actually always been appreciative of. They have a lot of cards, but they're not the big cards. So you don't have all these bigger cards kind of taking up a lot of space. This game can take up a lot of space anyway, so it's nice to be able to do that. Especially because I liked the expanded character cards where you actually had to where you essentially saw every skill and you had to mark the ones you had or didn't have. So you saw every skill all the time. It made it to where it wasn't changing the space. Instead, it was just always maxed out, right? So. But I had the table room for it, and I think it made it better. Okay, so here we have obviously some like enemies and stuff like that, or a follower. You have different like loot and stuff you can do that you can wear, right? So different sets like Scholar's Robe or War-Worn Breastplate. There's some more Scholar's Robe there. A hunting short bow. So a lot of different things here. Counselor's Staff, Standard Royal Plate, Standard Umbral Buckler, a Standard Arcanon, Improved Royal Plate, Improved, Ultimate, oh yeah, Ultimate Shadow Leather. My favorite kind. Ultimate Royal Plate, Ultimate Arming Doublet, Ultimate Lorica armor, Ultimate Astral Shard. So we got all these kind of different things here. Crossbow, Eldritch Mask, right? So just a whole bunch of stuff. Power Gauntlet. Heck yeah, let's get some of that in there. Lots of stuff there. Okay, what do we got here? Looks like we got some different scrolls. Those play a big role in the game normally. Artisan Tools Veteran. I think that might be for like crafting or something like that. Looks like I want to be holding it this way. Because here we have Dream Titans. These are bad guys. They're super buff Cthulhu dudes. The Hellish Flare. And again, there's a front and back on that. right? And as you can see, there's black, gray, and white. Skeleton Knight, Fallen Champion, Skeleton Knight, Fallen Champion. So there's different versions of them. So a lot of more Shadow Witch and a Fell Warcaller. So a lot of variety there. Again, I love the starkness of it. These are different abilities that you can do that kind of match those other abilities you have, and they'll match, I think, your kind of character trait as well. Oh, these are tragedies. Doom, Legacy, Trail Skill. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Heroism. Okay, so there's some cool stuff there. Some campaign stuff by the looks of it. These are different boss abilities. So this is for the Plague Horseman. Different things that he can do. Mounted Charge, Wicked Spit, Weave and Unravel, Grab and Crush, Vigorous Throw, Starve, Breaking Swipe, Torrential Charge, right? So a whole bunch of different stuff here for that. You have some scenario-specific monsters, or different minions, more followers, a few more cards. This is Pale Death Special Mechanic card. So just all of these different campaign-like things to keep things changing, keep things different, all that kind of stuff. Rune cards, special mechanics, some more like rings and stuff like that. Some seals, whatever the heck that junk is. It looks like I'm maybe going the wrong way here. Probably this way. More rune card, jeweled necklace, more special scenario monsters, and a cohort, whatever that is, more special events. Just a whole lot of stuff. I mean, again, it's just variety. That's what you're getting here. Different abilities and loot that you can find that's special, whatnot. Okay, so we do have a Standee here. We'll check the Standees real quick. We will take a yellow one. All right, here is a Standee. Here is the Standee holder. Now, one thing I am noticing right now, I'm going to hold this up instead of zooming in a little bit, but often when you have these, they'll have a little nub in the middle or on both sides to kind of grip the cardboard. And it keeps it in there really good, but it also does always indent the cardboard. And after a while, the cardboard gets indented there so much, it's loose anyway. So let's see how this one is. I'm assuming this is going to be tight in general. Yeah, so it is definitely tight. You can really jam that in there. That was not going anywhere. That is for sure. That is staying there. Now, if I take this out, will there be a indentation line there? No, none that I can see. Actually, it looks great. Awesome. Pass the test. Let's look at some minis. Let's go ahead and start with this bottom thing. So we're going to start rebuilding it. There are 3 of these Dream Titans. So we're going to zoom in on that. Now, the other big minis, I'm going to show at the very end. So if you're waiting for that, wait longer. Or again, use those timestamps. That's all you care about. Okay. Now, this is Either Fields, which means it's going to have a certain design philosophy. It also makes it to where the company is able to, make good financial decisions, stuff like that. So this right here, you see how this is shiny? I guarantee this is ABS plastic. It's actually very firm. It's not like bendy, like this more matte. This is a mix, I would say. But there's PVC, and then there's ABS. PVC miniatures are more flexible, a little bit softer, and about as expensive, a little bit less, a little bit cheaper than ABS. ABS has kind of a shiny feel to it. It's much more firm, so like long, skinny swords and stuff like that can help a lot on that. Or a base to make sure the base is flat. That's where that comes in handy. So there's those little freaking things again. So there won't be a warped base or anything like that. You can actually, because they're both injection molded the exact same way, mix them together. So every manufacturing company has different plastics, even among PVC and ABS. Those are broad groups. They're going to refer to it with like chemical names and stuff like that. But suffice it to say, their plastic looks mixed here. Because again, it's still slightly shiny. That's not a release agent, by the way. That's just going to be the slight mix of ABS here. And then this, as you can see, a lot more shiny. That's the ABS solid. So just as an FYI, the chain is quite thick, but that also means it's also, it's not going to like break off or anything like that. It's very strong there. Same here. Also because it's a larger miniature, obviously it's larger. I think that works fine too, right? Like it matches the size of this buff Cthulhu dude. The muscle definition is really good, so I appreciate that. The tentacles laying on here also quite detailed, same with the ones down here. Now if you look down here, there's some like oddities with like the bottom part here. I don't know what necessarily is going on with this. Not exactly sure. Kind of interesting. But anyway, I mean, so I think like this kind of works. It kind of doesn't. So I think the solution was less hangy things. I'm not sure what the original mold was. This is somewhere where I want to help in the future. But like gravity-wise, I'm not saying they're necessarily matching gravity with these kind of enemies. For it to then loop up and then loop up again and come there, unless it's like magnetically charged to the chain, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It would just hang down, right? Like it could be pushed up here, but then it wouldn't follow his arm and curve in this way, right? That's almost like a, hey, we took that and then moved it this way, which I bet is what happened, I would think. But either way, he's holding this like a little orb thing, almost looks like a heart or something. Not exactly sure what it is. I have to refer to the art. But the finger definition over that is very distinct, very good. So I appreciate that. His skin has like all these little veins and like swirly like marks and like scarring and stuff. So very detailed there. The cloth looks really good. I like the little breaks. It's very uneven and whatnot, so that looks good. This chain here is much skinnier. I'm fine with multiple chain lengths or thicknesses, but just something to note that the chain is a little bit, obviously way skinnier here than here. And they did fill this in. Now, I would have preferred, because this leg is up, you can kind of see that a little bit, right? My preference would have been to have a little bit of a fanning out here, if that makes sense, or a little concave. And you can typically still do that just fine in the mold. Than to make it just completely flat. If nothing else, what you do is you take this line and continue it so it's still more textured than just smooth. Hopefully that makes sense. The leg being like really skinny onto there. Again, it's one of those things where it's not pushed out enough, so it looks like either his leg gets super skinny or this is warping into his leg, right? And in fact, you can see it's even here, right? So it's not even like over his leg. It's like part of his leg. So I would have paid some attention here. Otherwise, I think it's actually pretty good. The thickness of the chain solves the hole a little bit. There's still somewhere like the hole should be there. You can Dremel that out if you want, or just paint it black, or just paint it like chain. It'll look just fine. And the face looks good too. I like that he's looking at that. He's very focused on his little like heart orb thing. And again, that base, glad that it's textured. And again, it's nice and solid there. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. One thing I did notice, you can see that damage to the box right there. That's from the lip of that. If this moves, you can even hear that scraping a little bit. I was just marking this right here from that. So that's kind of what that is as it shifts around. Typically what you see there. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other minis. So I'm going to put this back together, and I'll catch you there. All right, the only other minis we have specifically in this box are these 4 minis. 4 copies of 4 each. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. Let's start out this one. We're going to zoom in because these are much smaller. All right, so yeah, this one is really nice. I actually like it a lot. It's a lot of little details, actually. So again, they're going to be fairly flat on the X-Plane. It's going to make them a little bit cheaper. And honestly, that's playing to E-Star's strength when it comes to their building. They can actually have some really good detail as long as they're a little bit more static than your normal miniature. Well, it's not normal miniature, but miniature-focused games often are. This one isn't necessarily focused on the miniatures, but I am noticing there's a little bit of detail here. I appreciate that somewhat. I think a little bit more would have gone a long way, but it's not super smooth and flat either like the other one. So that's good to see. Anytime it's raising up like that, you're going to see that. And really what you don't want to do is make it look like it's just like it breaks the illusion a little bit, right? The staff does become part of this here, so it's but very bendy right here. All right, so probably a little bit either. I would have probably chosen to make this ABS 100% as opposed to this mix. But again, that would have mean this is in a different part, and right now it's all one piece, right? So that's kind of how they did that. Again, the base nice and firm. Solid like that. I don't think it's that ABS like the other one. It looks like it's a mix, perhaps. It looks a little bit more matte. Skinny arm as well, but its connection point's a little bit better. This one is connected right there, and it's just as you can see, pretty bendy. So I mean, it's not bad. Like you can hold it by that and all that, but you do want to be a little bit careful there. Again, ABS would have helped a little bit with that. Detail-wise, the face. That's all sculpted there. The hood, I like the depth of the hood. That's really appreciated. a lot of little new doodads and doohickeys and stuff here. The miniatures are a little bit of a smaller scale, and so you kind of have to. You got to understand that they're designing at that scale, right, to work at that scale, if that makes sense. That being said, it does have toes. It does have a little, like, whatever those ankle bone things are, right? So, overall, this is probably the one thing I would change a little bit, is just hardening that just so slightly, so it's not so scary. All right, we got 4 of these guys. Now this, not quite as cool. That is bent. What happened there? What is going on? Are they all like that? Nope. Okay, just him. So, yeah. This is a good point to talk about PVC. And to an extent ABS, but mostly PVC does this really well. The hot water treatment. Get some really hot water. It doesn't have to be boiling. Probably just steaming is actually just fine. Even like hot straight out of your tap, if you have your water heater not, on like child mode, you should be good there. Anyway, you get it hot. It becomes quite malleable, as it already is fairly bendy, right? But you hold it like this, right? And then you have some ice water, like some water with some ice in it, and holding it in place, dunk it in there. It'll cool the plastic and kind of harden it in that new position. So you can fix this fairly easily. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here with this one though. But again, ABS would have helped because there is this big gap between connection points. It is connected here, which helps. Somewhat, actually. If it didn't, it's debatable on how bendy they would be. But like I said, this one looks like it's going good. How are the other ones? Let's look at all 4. That one's good. Okay, so 2 perfectly straight. 1 just a little bit, and look, it's not even actually attached. So that needs to be... Oh yeah, it's like slightly higher or something. That's kind of weird. It should be like right in there. I don't know what's going on. That just needs to bend down a little bit or something. And then this one is like really, really bent. But either way, here, I'll hold this one because it's more what they expect you to get. And again, mine was shipped a little bit differently too, so I don't know exactly how that'll work out necessarily. Detail on the cloth, really good. I like all the different like folds and stuff to it, like the smaller folds here. Not just the big ones. Those look good. A little detail on his like little tabard. He's got his little beard thing going on there. Very solidly on the base. This is, again, really open, which is fine, but adding a little bit of a lip really helps out a lot. And I don't see that on this. So adding a little bit of a lip, in fact, it's almost the opposite, where the fill is actually, yeah, look at that. That's kind of funny. So on here, this inside part is actually farther out. There's like a line separating it, which makes a little indentation. So ideally, this collar is slightly out, right? So there's a little inset in there. And you can do that just fine on these molds, and it'll print A-okay. Especially if you just angle it slightly more. You just have to play around with the pose of it. He's like wearing a mask, which is cool. But again, it would be nice to have this mask concave. Right, so this mask, if it was concave, you can kind of see it there now that I'm in camera. Cool mask, but again, it would be better to see the little face shape in there, at least somewhat. Let's see, his pack looks great. I really like that. He's got a little dagger back there too. He matches his armor. He's like a little armored mage dude. We got these guys here. Very cool weapon. So it looks like it's attached to the back there. So they do have their chain. And then they're grabbing the chain and then holding it tight there, and then it kind of comes down here. Again, this is a little bendy. That was just fine. It's PVC. It's pretty robust, but it will put a strain on here. I always do worry about that over time. I can feel the little spikes, the little nubs on these shoulder pads. Again, muscle definition is really good. The whole anatomy is good. Standing on the rocks and having the rocks like protrude up, that's nice. So here you can see a little bit of... Let's restart the whole thing. I don't know how long I was out of focus. Get these guys out of here. Alright, so next up we have this guy here, and I really like his cool weapon. It's very unique. Looks like it's attached in the back there. It's this like chain thing. Looks like these might be spikes, but might not. I'm not sure exactly what that is because I don't see them elsewhere. Holding it taut here and then having an angle here. And again, this PVC is very bendy. I do worry because it can put strain on this little connection point here. Start to turn a little white right? And technically it could maybe break off. I don't know. But right now, it seems fine. It seems okay. And just doing that doesn't seem to bother it much at all, actually. I love the basing on this one. Again, it's a little bit more than the other one. So he's actually like standing up on top of these rocks that are protruding out. In fact, he's standing outside of his base, which is really cool. I appreciate that a lot. Again, the chain looks great, right? That looks good. All these little dangling things he has from this belt look cool. And the little spikes on his shoulder. You can actually feel that more than on his helmet, which is a little bit softer, but that's fine. The straps here look good. So like it's a little melty there, perhaps. The hands look good. So that ended up well. So that's good. Except I'm not sure what's going on here. So right here, where he's supposed to be holding it, right? All the stitching looks good, by the way, too. So he's grabbing it, and that's fine. But then, like, I don't know what happens to his hand versus, like, it all just blends together, right? The chain blends in with the armor, which blends into I don't even know what. So there's a little bit of oddity there. I mean, it's fine. Once you paint it, it'll look okay, but that's probably the biggest bummer I've seen on any of the minis so far. Otherwise, this texture, again, all this texture looks great. Even on that, it looks really good. So yeah, just this one part here is a little iffy. Otherwise, I really like it. This chain on top of the like chainmail, that's cool too. All right, next up we have 4 of these guys, and again, I really like them too. They're cool. Look at that face; it's like Red Skull going on here. So a little bit of a bent blade. Again, hot water treatment can solve that. It's just that softer plastic that makes it more robust, so it's not like going to break or something like that. As you can see, you can bend it quite a bit, but it'll kind of naturally try and go back to its shape unless you do that heat up and cool down, and then it'll stay nice and straight. Very easy to fix, just as an FYI. The finger symbol's kind of interesting. I don't know what the heck's going on. Like what he's doing a gun. But I love the fact that his fingers are all represented there. E-Star traditionally hasn't done super great with small hands, and granted his hands aren't small, but just saying that's nice. There is some texture on the bottom here too. I appreciate that. Again, I sort of appreciated the lip a bit to help even solve that even more, but the texture is a nice second. The armor all looks great. Again, his chains look good. The skull looks cool. Texture on the robe looks nice. I like that it's separate, so you can tell this is separate from that. That's a nice little touch there. I like the gap in the arm. It's not filled in. That being said, okay. Okay, so this is kind of weird. It looks to me like his sword is melting into his shoulder. Do you see that? Again, this is something I'm going to be looking for in Dante. But it's very easy to do that with a 3D model. But obviously you want a nice clean line like this. The top of the shoulder, it shouldn't be melting into it. Though maybe he's a phantasm, I don't know. I don't think he's supposed to be ghostly about it. It's supposed to be resting on his shoulder pad, but it's a little going through it. Otherwise, again, the detail level on the scars and slashes on his armor and stuff, super cool to see. Yeah, I like that guy. All right, so that's it besides the big minis, which again, we'll get to the last. So let's look at one of the quick expansions. All right, before we get to the expansion, a quick look at their Deluxe Health Tracker. This is something that's nice. So the original Health Tracker was just a kind of a flat, again, I love this easy open, flat board that showed it. So it's really nice to have it in a dual layer board. And in fact, it looks like the dual layer board, a little bend right there. This came loose. Again, it arrived different than how you necessarily would get it shipped. Looks fairly centered. So one of the things I always try to look at when I see this is how centered these numbers are. I will say I think it's maybe slightly off-center on some of them. For instance, I think there's a little bit more space on the bottom of the screen. Get real close there. Than the top of the screen. I think this is slightly high. Just ever so slightly. I think maybe the same here. Maybe this one's also a little bit to the left. Though maybe not. Again, it's hard to tell because the angle that you look at can change things, right? So it's kind of hard to really call all that out. But either way, I mean, they look good. None of them are grossly wrong or anything like that. And then you also have your matching condition portions, right, where you can track the same thing. So you'd have kind of both these out. Much better than the flat piece where things could get knocked into. Anything like this, they can hold the token in good in my book. Worthwhile investment. It'll just make your gameplay more enjoyable. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is the Hero Pack number 1. So this one has 8 hero miniatures. 4 double-faced hero boards, 4 double-faced deluxe hero boards. See, so I did this version more than this version, but we'll talk through that a little bit. But again, you can also see my my review. I'll put a link down to that in the description. I should mention that earlier. So again, you get the Standees if that's what you're wanting to do. So that's always kind of nice. Get to have, oh, it looks like these are minions, actually, almost, or something like that. That's all the same thing. Okay, well, we'll take a look. We'll take a look. All right, here's the minis. We'll look at those. Don't you worry. Okay, so traditionally, you have, where's the opening here? These right here. I think these were the common ones at the beginning. All right, so you have Mordred, Sif, Gramash, Sahara, Brihit, and Drix, Azrael, and Diana. Very cool. Okay, so you have kind of your main ability here that's different for you, right? And then you have your like abilities here, and then you slot the card abilities on the right, or this is your equipment. You can slot more card abilities to the left here, right? And then your health tracker and what you're good at and stuff like that. And when you expend a cube, how much more you can move and whatnot. And that's kind of how this worked. Now, you could also use this for leveling up. So in here you had the hero class like the Necromancer, right? And you had this Servitude or Corruption or Commander or Undeath tree, and then a little bit about him here. This is cool. Your little abilities here. Then you have the Shaman, the Sword Mage, and the Warlord. There were times where you could dual spec as well, but obviously these are just kind of the one there. So you have that, but then you also have this here, which I actually liked this version a lot more, just because it was kind of all there. You didn't have to worry about the cards. They did make a card holder for the first one that a lot of people use, but I still liked this one because I didn't need it. It would have been nice to get this dual board, but that would have been a lot too. They do make some, Claustrophobia has this, and a few others where it's a 2-piece cardboard thing you can clasp on. I think that would work great for this, but they haven't done that yet at least. So anyway, you get this, and you have the exact same kind of stuff, right? Here's your like special thing, and then what you're good at and whatnot. And then instead of cards, you just have all of your stuff here, and you just put, see how the locks here? You just lock the ones out that you don't have yet. And you have your equipment and your health, and it's kind of all right here. And so there's the front and back of each one, right? Sky Asunder versus Commandment. So they have different things for that you can spend points on. But you have that, and that's your whole sheet. And plus this, that's about as big as it gets. And so I liked that a little bit more. But I can see why people would prefer this. If nothing else, it starts out smaller. So there is that. But that's just that. Okay, we got this. We've seen that kind of stuff before, so I'm not too concerned about that. There are going to be some cards, but the cards, I'll show you briefly, but just briefly because they're not going to be anything like super major here. Nothing like groundbreaking. It just has to do with the classes here and what to do, like what their first, not tokens. I forget what they're called now. Been a hot minute. Their little cubes are. Anyway, so you have your character cards for activation and whatnot, and then you have your pet here and some of your abilities, right, that you can level up, and that's what all of those are. And then you have just some more here by the looks of it. So just more and more abilities, and that's kind of it. Your activation cards are your abilities that will match with each thing. So that being said, where to put that is the question. That is the question. So this obviously goes like the big one there. So these go in like that. These go in like that. These go in like, I don't know. So we're just going to put them in like that, all loosey-goosey. That shouldn't cause a problem, right? And we got the minis, of course. We'll look at that. All right, well, let's go and take a look at the minis. Let's start with the freaking cool one. Look at this. Look at that one. All right, this is a fun one here. I like this one. Yeah, this is actually like really cool. I love the wings. They're kind of a cartoony stylized wing. I actually think that fits really well with the overall style. The hand, again, it's got the mitten hand, right? So it's all fingers connected, thumb out, that E-Star often always does. They're not really able to do too well with the hands otherwise. So that would be pretty small too for fingers. Again, when you're at the scale, it just kind of is what it is. You do have the armor here, the book here. That looks great, like the clasp on it and stuff. The neck is very defined. That's good. The face looks great. The helmet and the ridgeline around the helmet, fantastic, actually. Really good there. The sword, nice and straight. Really dig that. That came out great. Look how skinny it is. So they didn't make it like a banana blade or anything like that. This looks really good. Probably the one thing that's a bummer is, again, this solid little bit there. And they did put texture there, which is kind of nice. A little ridge would have been great, or even a little divot. I think they could have still done that okay. I found a way to do the pull direction. Obviously, this is already a multi-part piece. This was added in. And it looks like it was assembled well. Yeah, looks cool. I will say wings, this shape, this size, very common to see. It's not exactly the most original wing way to do things. I do like the pose, though. I like that she's like using the base and that they actually sculpted the base for stuff. Very cool. I like this one. I like that a lot, actually. That one's awesome. All right, here's this one. And again, I like, maybe this is supposed to be straight, but it's already so bent and like wobbly enough already. It's whatever, right? It's whatever it is. Love the fist thing that he's got going on there. His armor's super cool. Love the like tattered bit there and the little chains here. The skull here looks great. This is nice and attached well. It doesn't like it's being bled into really anything, so that looks good. This looks fairly okay. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, why would it like curl into his knee? I'm not exactly sure. And then sometimes on this, like they just don't delimit it well, so it just looks like it's just clean through his, like there's not a good like obvious. It needs to start rounding out a little bit, right? But it doesn't necessarily do that. It just cuts through his leg. Hair looks good. Textured on the inside and outside. Facial features look good. Overall, I like this one. I like the little tears and tatters in the robe and stuff. That's cool too. All right, next up we got a flaming sword. That's always fun. That being said, it's also very skinny, extremely skinny, especially right here. And so it's very bendy. We're gonna have to, like, this is pretty solid, but this right here is so skinny right there that is definitely the spot that it's gonna tense at right there. You can even see it. The inside here of the cloth, that looks good. I like that. The billowing here, that's cool too. It's going to catch on fire though, so you better watch out for that though. He's also holding flame. Maybe he doesn't care too much. All right, the cape looks great. I do really like that. Just the wrinkle on the back, the depth of it, all that looks good. They're doing a great job with the hoods on here. Not necessarily cape, I don't know why I said that. The wrapper on here looks great as well. Yes, it's all good. I dig it. It is kind of interesting because he's got a hood here, and it looks like there's a hood here too. He's got like two hoods. He's got multiple hoods. You never know when you need another hood. This is a fun one. I like that she's holding a little like tabard thing here. That's really cool. I really dig that like a lot. That's awesome. They did not connect the tail and the sword, which is quite daring, because they certainly could have. The sword's fairly straight. He's slightly bent here. Love the depth of the shield. That's super unique and different. I really dig that. That looks so cool and very different. Otherwise, the tail's attached right there. And, mostly just standing on this base, holding this up. Kind of posing for the camera a little bit, but that's all right. All right, next up we got this guy here. It looks like he has a tiny head. Because not only does he have a big torso, but his legs outstretched here, but then he has this covering, so it just looks like it's huge. It looks almost like a snowman. So like there's the first ball, second ball, and then a tiny little ball at the very top. Again, he's holding something. I don't even know what that is, but he seems to be holding it well. The finger definition's good. Once again, this is all flat here. It would have been nice to get some texture there or something like that. Packs look good. Vest looks good. Arms look good. Overall, I think he's a cool guy. Just want to know what he's holding. Next up, we have the bird chick. This is super interesting. I really dig this. Love this top part of the cape. That texture looks really, really cool. And again, see how this is like pushing that back? Really like that. It actually makes some physicality to it. It's not just warping through or something like that. That looks really, really nice. Yeah, both of these big fire magic. This is super magic here. Yeah, this one's just neat. I like the little potion bottles. That'd be really fun to paint. The claw, like feet, and then the skulls. Kind of ominous in a way. All right, next up we have Scythe Lady. Again, fairly skinny right there, but not too bad. It seems to be holding up quite good. So, we'll see how it is over time. I'll let you know in the review. Love the pose. I like that the fingers are curved a little bit. Again, they're all together. Of course, that is pretty common. Little tiny hands that they put on these women. The armor's neat, though. Facial features are super cool. Hair looks nice. I like the draped cloth in the back. Look at this. This is actually great. So she has these little ridges on the side, which helps so much. At least in that one. So much. I like the little chain right there. And then you can see her leg inside of there, which is very cool to see the shape of. I really appreciate that. Definitely cool. One of my favorite ones when it comes to actually keeping the body form all right and the cloth on top of that. The other one's a little loosey-goosey. That one's pretty good though. And of course, who doesn't want to have this bad butt tiny dwarf woman just blowing a horn, warhammer shield hand on one side, just braided hair, super cool. Love this one. Putting the foot up on this rock thing going on there. The horn I would have liked to see a little bit more of a ridge, but does have one. That'll help with painting a lot. So that's one thing. I love that her cheeks are puffed out as she's blowing out of it too. That's super cool to see. Just a fun mini in general. Okay, yeah, definitely one of my favorites. I love that one. All right, let's move on to the next pack. As a quick aside, guys, I was cleaning up a little bit here. And first of all, this ends up really well. This is actually the campaign. These are all the doors. These are the chapter numbers. And notice, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11. Now, where do those other chapters come in? I don't know precisely. I do believe that this is the symbol that all of them have. So if I take this first one out, see a little symbol there? That shows it's this campaign. So these are, imagine the other small expansion stuff. This might be the main game. I don't remember how many there are. But it could be that you just hold all the doors in here, which would be super cool if that's the case. And obviously you don't hold all of this in here, but that's really cool. I also think, and again, I'll try and get confirmation around this, that in here, now I don't know where all the Standee stuff goes, so forgive me on that, but all of these lead here, and I think this is just cards, is pretty much what that is, and this separates, obviously, those. It fits in perfectly there. So either way, great to see this kind of organization from a board game. I'm happy to see it. All right, time for the big box expansion. This is Awakenings. Super excited to see this here. Now, notice here, this is all stretch goals and stuff, right? For instance, you might recognize Nyx from Madara, right? There's a few others here, I believe. Yeah, so see. That might be somebody from Tenaris. So, cool to see that. We're not going to punch all these, but obviously, same as was before, right? Some more nice foam. This is really good foam, actually. This is nice. Custom, so it goes even a little bit deeper right in there. So that's cool to see. Okay, and here we have a whole lot of story records here. Party name, followers, outcome, status, adventure track. Kind of nice to see. Okay. And then we got some more wrapped stuff here. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is just the adventure book. See if I can't get this open. Maybe. Had more luck with the other ones. Again, maybe a little too wrapped tightly, right? You can see the little bend there. You got to be careful with that. Okay. Almost, guys. Yeah, okay. All right. I think we're good now. Yeah, we got this. Maybe. All right, made it through. Take that, plastic. All right, look, they even put the 1 on there. That's kind of silly. I don't know if 188. 188 pages. My goodness, a whole bunch of stuff here. Now, I'm going to look through this and see if I can't find something. Okay, so this is some slight spoilers. I don't even know what of.
I just know that, yeah, that's me. So the king of average. So anyway, that's a thing. This was done a long time ago, but you might notice a little symbol there even, which is kind of cool. This is all, right there too. I hadn't seen the final thing yet, so that's that's really funny. And this is all like stretch goal stuff and whatnot, and so it's not like in the main thing per se. And it's definitely like, in my understanding, within lore and all that. So anyway, just kind of fun to see that. This was the second one, so it was also in Oathsworn as well. So if you get a kick out of that, let me know, of course. Or if you hate that, I guess, let me know too. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I took some really dorky pictures of myself for reference. Gosh, 2 moves ago, it was years ago, we were working on, I was working on that. So that's really cool to see. Anyway, all right. So there's a lot in here. Like I said, 188 pages that we can look through, but we're not going to look through it in here. So we're going to keep that under wraps. Well, this was a treat. I actually looked through this whole thing, and there are so many people. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but thanks to blah 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 for being a part of our story. It's really cool to offer content that's like legit content. Like, this is a real story with like cool lore and all that, and yet you're interacting with either all these like characters from other games that you might like, or people that you might know, like real people, or just, it's such a cool way to celebrate something like a Kickstarter campaign or a crowdfunding campaign in general, where, you can have like your own backers in the game and actually work with them to put them in the story and make it work. And all. It's really cool. It brought a smile to my face. Like, this one guy, he's in there and he's got like these 3 kids in there and stuff, or there's this couple that are in here, and it's a treat. So even if you're not going to play through all this, leaf through it and just kind of see the celebration of the community. I think that's super cool. But we got a game to look at. So we got more cards. I'm not going to go through these. They're the exact same doors as before, right? Now, we do have this here. Ugh. And so I haven't shown this in this unboxing, the first game's unboxing I did. But you can have a little side roll thing here that you pick. Essentially, you have your class, but then you also have a role that you can pick, and that gives you certain things as well, which is kind of cool. And you can even level up your role. So you have the healer, the bruiser, the slayer, the trickster, or the warden. And so, like, the healer allows you to heal, and you don't actually have to have a specific class for that. Now, you can pair that with the class. Sorry, I think my dog just, like, made a noise. Okay, I think he's done. Anyway, you can pair this however you wish, which is really cool. It's just another way to customize an RPG feel. I like that a lot. That's super cool. All right, so we got more tokens right here. Oh, what came off on that one? Make sure that locks. Yeah, it's fine. Just wasn't quite on there. Okay, we got a whole lot of map tiles. Let's go and take a look at the various map tiles. You can see the various locales you'll be going to. As you see, not all of them are dual layer. Here we got some, like, inside of a ship, it looks like, and some, this is definitely like a pirate theme here by the looks of it. Some kind of, oh nope, still lots of pirate stuff is what it looks like this is, and beach stuff with the pirates. And then here you have a boss. That looks cool. Who is this? Armor. Prevent half the damage round up from any damage it would take. Armor up, huh? What is it? I don't even know what that thing is. Okay, we got some minis under there we'll take a look at, of course. What's nice is it looks like they almost just reused their old trays. The shape of where the minis go might be a little bit different, but otherwise they were able to organize it pretty much the exact same. This almost looks like a haunted ship here. This looks like a town. That's definitely not a ship. That's like cobblestone. So there's times where oh man, don't go in that water, Frodo. Where you go to other locations as well, but looks of it. See, that's not a good place there. That's lava. And like dragon bones and junk. So who knows what's going on there. That's like Act 3 stuff. Alright. And finally, looks like more ghost stuff. More of the town. That looks familiar. That looks like I wonder if it's the same kind of area or not. Yeah, see, that looks familiar too. So I don't even know if all of this is necessarily new art or not. I mean, some of it is obviously but they may have used other assets as well. I'm not sure. Either way, that's that. We got minis there. We got minis here. We got some character cards. Let's take a look at these.
Now, these are not the big ones, so I don't know if we get those in here or not. Like I said, I prefer those. I won't be able to name all of these. Looks like they are not front and back. There's just the one. That's for those. Okay, there's a little slot there for them. Now, what is under here? That is the question. There's something. Aha! There's the big ones. That's what I was looking for. So I'm not going to open these. You know how that works, but the big ones there. And then some cards. Again, you've seen the kind of cards. I'm not going to go ahead and open those. It looks like there's a lot more space for more minis or something, I'm assuming. Either that or this built Standees, or I don't know. I don't know. There's just room for them. That's all I know. Okay, well, let's look at some minis then. That sounds like fun. And then the only thing left are the big minis. Exciting. Zoom in a little bit. Well, this is a fun base. It's like all billowy with like these souls coming out of it. This weird beak vulture looking dude with his finger slightly bent on the top there. That's nice to, it doesn't look so unnatural, right? His pinky pulled in a little bit. The neckline looks cool there. I don't know, it looks like some kind of potion on the side there. But I love that he just like comes out of here. In fact, there doesn't look to be, it looks like this is like mist around him. That's cool. So instead of it like ending here, it actually just goes down into the mist. You just can't see it, the fog or smoke or, you know, magic dust, whatever junk that is. That's a cool little tidbit. I like that. Then we have this one here. Very cool looking kind of Medusa lady. Got obviously all the little snake head hair stuff. Her mouth is open. She's very frightening looking. Got a slightly thick blade, but I'm okay with that. Looks like a potion as well. I don't know what the potion signifies. Really sharp angle armor, which is very common for like serpent kind of art. And this texture, I don't know if you can hear that. Awesome. I mean, these good. I mean, this is not one where you're going to paint every single scale. I can tell you that much. That is not going to happen. The only bummer I would say is it's so fine. Well, the detail's there to actually paint it. I don't know if a wash and dry brush would actually pick up on that. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Otherwise, it is a multi-part mini, which they don't do a whole lot of, but this is assembled here. And it looks like it was assembled quite well. I'm happy with that. That looks fine to me. Like the connection point here and here, so it's all nice and sturdy. Yeah, those are cool. I like those. All right, then we have this guy here who has, again, this is all like kind of water themed a little bit. So he's got a little blade here that's slightly bent. All right, needs to probably be over that way. Again, hot water works if you're concerned about that. The blade's a little thick on this one compared to the others, but at least on the top, which is the main part, it does come to an angle. It's not flat, so that's appreciated at least. Yeah, though, it seems solid enough. The tail doesn't like it's doing any kind of warping or, you know, bleeding or blending or anything like that, so that's good. The scale on the backside looks really cool, actually, on the underside of it. Mouth open again, big old teeth showing. The fin here's cool. Just the overall pose is nice. It's kind of the Tusken Raider, you know, kind of thing. Oh, never mind. All right, then we got these big guys here who are like these like really big minotaur looking kind of dudes. Again, the hands out are really good. I don't know what the heck this is, but I don't appreciate, what is that? Oh, it's like a bug on him or a tentacle or some weird junk. Oh, gross. It's like there's like stuff coming out of him. Okay, well, that's a thing. The hooves look good. This is probably the only thing I don't like. So this is mostly hidden, this flat part here, but this is glaringly obvious right here. So every single other bit of this mini I think is awesome. Love the ears, love the open mouth, the teeth, the eyes, the horns, all of that. Love that the horns are like not symmetrical, right? All that's great. The nastiness everywhere, the bugs. And you got this big old flat part here. Such a bummer. That's unfortunate. The line for the leg is crisp, so that's nice, but they just didn't texture that at all. And this is such an E-star move. It's really frustrating. You got to kind of watch them a little bit and really bug them about it. So hopefully we can do that and make sure that you don't see something like this happen again. That's the idea. Because otherwise, yeah, the tail even going around the leg, that actually looks good. Doesn't look like it warped or did anything like that. So front, really good. This side, really good. Back, really good. This side, really good. And then there's that. All right, now we're going to move from that to some of these big ones I saw in there. Right in here. All right. Open it up. Okay, let's see what we got. Well, first of all, let's go and take a look at Nyx. She's probably the most recognizable. She's been in like 18 million games at this point. Wings are huge, so really big wings here. The pose is awesome. I love the idea of using the scythe and her foot to like put her on the base with this little outcropping here. The tail looks nice. Hair looks good, making sure the face didn't blend in or anything like that, but that looks good as well. The texture on the wings is really cool. On the back side, you can actually see this isn't, this is assembled. Okay, it's just a very good assembly, actually. So that actually works out pretty well. It's maybe a little thick right there in the connection point. Maybe it looks a little strange coming out of her back like that, but otherwise, very cool. This actually even ended up quite straight, too. Very nice. That's a cool little design. Okay, we got some really creepy little goblin dudes climbing all over each other here. Look at that. What the heck? I don't like that at all. That's creepy. So they do have these like flat foot thing. Again, it's E-Star. They do this kind of thing all the time. Where it's just not really molded very well there. But otherwise, they just like carrying a whole bunch of skulls and junk? Like, why do they have so many skulls? What's going on there? And I don't know what this is necessarily. Like, what is this going on here? I'm not sure. Looks like... I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you what that is. Like, this was filled with skulls. This part wasn't. So I'm not sure quite what's going on there. Looks like he's got a leg there. Perhaps. And a leg there. But then what? It looks like that's somebody's arm. But then this middle part here, I don't know. Either way, they're climbing over each other, trying to get at you, I guess. That's creepy. I don't like that. Like, at all, really. Alright, this is the one from Tenaris, I believe. I think. The embroidery at the bottom of the dress looks really cool. Separation between the dress and the leg looks good. I think that went really well. The staff is great. I really like the thickness of this. I think that's actually perfect. It's not supposed to be sharp. The magic is good with the fingers there. That's all separated. That looks good. The belts or whatever that is, that's cool too. I dig that one. Yeah, that one's good. Looks nice. Okay, we have 4 of these bad guys. Oh, there's some creepy bad guys here. Okay, so I really like this one. Axe is a little bent, but only slightly. It should just kind of be like that instead of like that. It's just the end there. It's actually a really good thickness because of how crude it is. I think this is perfect, and it does go to a little bit of an angle, but I think that's actually great. All the texture on the skin and on the cloth and stuff, all that looks really good. There's some weird like neck stuff going on there that works. All these spikes came out really nice. The fingers look gross and nasty. I don't know why he's all like, but that's weird too. I dig it. Even the face may be slightly soft, perhaps. 4 of those. Now this guy's all mouth. Literally his entire body's a mouth. I don't know how I appreciate that. Like his jaw must clasp right here. So he's got like this weird, nasty little tail thing going on. He's got his like big arms and tiny arms. What looks to be like a whole bunch of eyes, maybe. This is like a weird frog Cthulhu dude. Really crazy looking. The only bummer I would say, all these teeth look fantastic. The texture there, by the way, is you see the texture here inside the mouth. It's not put here, and it should have been put here. Again, it's the little things like that. Got to pay attention to. I'll help out with that. It'll be awesome. Don't worry about it. These tentacles, all the little tiny ones coming out on the inside here, look awesome too. Super cool. All right, we got 4 of these as well. This one is very unique. I like how this one works well with the Medusa one. I bet you're using this with the Medusa lady. So it's got like this like cloth coming out there. It is connected there, but I think that works fine. I don't think it needed to be, but it is. Same with here. It is filled in here. They do that often. Instead of putting the whole snake thing there, they'll fill it in with like a rock or something like that. Very common, and it works, right? It's like he's wrapped around it. Muscle definition's good. The cloth looks great. The magic, they do great with the magic every time. These are like two little weird back shoulder horn things that are then connected. But this string, really good. In fact, there's even, I can feel it. You probably can't hear it. But there's a little bit of texture there. Not enough to be worth anything, but kind of a rope texture there. The head was added. That is some assembly, and it looks like it did it really well. Yeah, no, I like this one. This one's cool. We got this dude over here. Hardcore. I mean, look at that shield. Look at that tower shield. That is freaking sweet. That is awesome. Good luck lifting that thing. It's got a sword here. It's a little blunt, but it's not too fat. I'm fine with it. I just wish it came to a little bit of an angle. But either way, the size of it seems good. Maybe slightly bent up like that, but otherwise okay. Let's see, the cloth around the leg looks fine. All the texture there looks good. The armor texture, fantastic. Inside of the shield is sculpted, so that's nice. There's not a good clean line here. I'd like a cleaner line here to separate the shield and the cloth. And the face and the hair, that turned out great as well. Looks nice. Okay, got two more here. We got this guy here who looks freaking boss. Again, slightly bent, should be up there like that. But he is like freaking hardcore. Look, I mean, he's even got like his fist, like grr. Sweet looking helmet. Eye holes look great. The twistiness of like the shaft to his like warhammer looks cool. The humongous Super Saiyan 3 hair, that's awesome. I dig that. Just all of the armor looks great. That looks awesome. What a cool guy. Very shiny. Then we got this guy here. That's the boss that we were looking at. I can tell by like the wood armor junk that he's got going on there. Again, he looks like he's holding a heart as well. It is an anatomically correct heart, though it is a very big heart. So like obviously that's not Nyx's heart, right? That's like the size, that's bigger than her head. So it is scaled up a little bit. Who knows whose heart that is? He's on like this trunk thing. It does have the design inside. I do appreciate that. So typically I actually prefer swirls, but the little lines, that works too. It looks like all of this is actually wood. Very, very woods-like. In fact, he's got like this green leaf thing here that looks great. That cape looks awesome. This texture on him looks cool. This big old scythe, that works well. Again, a little thick, but it does come to a nice point, so I'm fine with that. Nice edge. Just about everything about this guy's actually textured really well. The horn looks cool too. Maybe a little bit of muddiness here. Where again the delineation between the hand and the heart isn't quite as strong as like on this side, but that's like it. I mean that's me picking for things too. This is a cool guy. I like him. Okay, so that leaves only the big one. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm sure you guys have all been waiting for. All right, so this is a bonus from I was actually unboxing Dante, and they shoved the Fallen Sister in there. So we're gonna go ahead and show that off right now. I love the design on the wings, like the feathers here. They're kind of cartoony, kind of not. And then this ridge here, very noticeable. The detail on the cape here is also awesome. A great basing, obviously. The like wrinkles and the like jeans here, very cool. The forehead's very prominent there. In fact, even the fingers here on the hands are actually quite nice. I really appreciate that, especially from E-Star, that's doing well. It is connected here, so it's nice and sturdy. Otherwise, it'd only be right there, but it's really sturdy there. So, yeah, very cool. I like this one. Okay, here it is. So let's go ahead. They have little locks on here. I probably have to pull out. Oh, man. There we are. Over here, too. And one more. Two more. There we go. Whew. All right. You don't realize how big these are until you actually see them. So let's go maybe in order of size. So we start out with this one. Zoom in a little bit on this guy. All right. So if you recall, I had these in resin, and it was a very messy resin. There was a lot of posts and supports still there, so it's nice to see the final thing. It sits flat, which is nice. The kind of like swampy looking kind of flooring is nice. That being said, it looks like he's walking on top of that, and it should kind of be oozing in there. So I would have liked a little bit of a ridge that he steps into,
as opposed to stepping on it flat like that. You'll have to kind of mold that yourself. But it looks really cool with all the floating stuff there. And maybe it's just really, really small, but you know, it looks maybe about like that thick worth. So either way, having a little bit there would have helped perhaps a tiny bit there. Otherwise, it's actually very solid. It's all ABS, obviously. So let's look at the face here. They've pulled back these. Remember, those were sticking out. A lot that was sticking out a little bit more. The mouth itself is textured on the inside, so appreciate that. They definitely showed some care into this. This fur is great looking. Like, this just looks really nice. I'm happy with that. That looks awesome. The eyes, the texture around the nose looks great, especially the little nostrils there. This, like, that whole front just looks great. That's awesome looking. It would have been nice to fan this out a little bit. Again, have these poked out a little bit as opposed to kind of squished in. And then on here, it looks like they've made this kind of one piece. So there is a little bit of just roundness here. That would have been nice to edge a little bit. Kind of like this, right? Just to make it not so... Here's a little circle with some texture on top of it. This armor that he has on here is really cool. I like the texture on it a lot. I'm not exactly sure how it's like on him. I don't know exactly the inner details of that. The skulls with the little... here, I'll zoom in a little bit here. With the like rope. That rope looks really good on all those. So that's really cool how it's tied down there. There's a little bit of a mold line here I'm seeing. Just a slight one. But it's definitely there. A little bit noticeable. That armor plating stacked on the bottom here looks cool. The only thing I would like to see is that line separation between the different pieces. Show a little bit more on the back side here, if that makes sense. This strap goes all the way underneath and is textured all the way underneath. That's a nice little touch, actually. That's really cool. And they hit the mold, the like assembly line, I feel quite good. It's actually a really good assembly. Like, I'm actually quite impressed with that. That's nice. On this side, same kind of thing. I think the separation between the kind of fur and hair is pretty good, but I would have liked this end to be a little bit more textured, so it's not as noticeably just a big piece with texture on it. And then this little like part where she puts her legs, that's really cool. Nice texture there. Looking at the actual seat, this is also super cool that it's put like this. There's a little bit of a mold line again there. But otherwise, it's like plate armor is cool. And then this tail coming out, again, looks really, really neat. I like that a lot. Definitely a little stabby point there. A little kind of scorpion looking kind of thing there. Actually, kind of sharp. Like when you hold that actually kind of hurts. And it looks like you can hold it up. It's a pretty good connection. Okay, let's look at her. So these straps, again, assembled very well. Like, that fits in perfectly. Those two connection points are good. And it's not too thick either. Like, that's actually really good. That's exactly how I would want it. It seems quite firm too. I don't know what exactly some kind of, a little flexible, so PVC, but they did a good job with it. And then that's attached to her arm here, right? Which again, assembled fairly well. It's a little bit obvious, but I think that's actually pretty good. She got this fur cloak behind her. The delineation on the back, on the side here, between her leg and torso isn't quite what it is on this side. So on this side, you can see this clear line. That's this armor piece that I think helps. And here, that armor piece is there, but it's right underneath where the arm is there. So it's a little bit harder to see from the side, in my opinion. I would have lowered that a little bit, perhaps. Otherwise, the hair, again, all that's assembled pretty good. So her face, very well done. She's got open mouth, eyeballs, and eyelids and stuff. All that's definitely detailed. This like braided part of her hair here looks really cool. The outward arm with the very straight blade, also very nice. Right here is a little weird. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Is this part of the... I don't know. It just seems to go a little too high. Like, that's a huge space right between her legs while she's sitting. And I think it's filled in with this stuff. When I mean, maybe that's accurate. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks a little strange to me anyway. Overall, very cool piece. Very aggressive, right? With the guy like snarling at you here, and then she's like actually way back here. This is like a big freaking guy. Like, this is all of his head, right? And then it's twice as big as, it's the same size of his body, so it's like doubled up. But the straight sword and the shouting
kind of really helps silhouette. That's a really good angle right there. Everything is pointed same direction. So cool design. I like that one a lot. All right, next up I think is probably this guy here, the Plague one. Very fun. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. So the souls under him, super cool. Also very large, right? And again, this isn't exactly like to scale or anything like that. So that's something to kind of note. Is these are like these kind of giant spirit-like dudes is more what I was thinking of. And I think this is a cool idea. So in this one, you can actually kind of see him separate more. A little bit. You can see the chain around the collar on his neck. You can see him kind of looking up at the plague guy, like asking for help of some kind, with desperation. His mouth is open. Got kind of that skull face going on there. He blends in a little bit right here. And then this guy here, who's like curled up, is like barely coming out of the mist. So you can see it kind of start here and then go up. And then it's kind of like enveloping a large part of him. So it's actually like filling in all this to where you only kind of see his eyes like really clearly. That's actually really cool. I dig that. I think that would look awesome painted. I am in support of that. At first I thought maybe it was just all messy, but no, that's exactly the same texture. That's just cool. I dig that. I like that it's billowing outside of the base. It's not like the most perfect line, but it sits fine, does all that just okay. So that is all right by me. Looking at the actual plague horse that he's riding, obviously he's reared up, so it adds a lot of height, which is super cool. I dig that. The bottom portion of him is all textured because it's all visible. That's really great. I love the all the different joints that are shown here. And then what's really cool is see how strong of legs this back are compared to the front. Again, he's this very sickly looking kind of weird thing going on. He also has this amazing skull face coming out of the side of his like back leg, and then an even different one here. See, in this one it looks like the jaw's like out a bit more, and then the horns are a bit different too by the looks of it. It's got these chains coming down there. Got more skulls here, right, on both of those. The mouth that's like the whole head is like skinny and elongated, and then the deep recesses for eyes, and then the like double jaw thing that looks cool. There's not really a texture, but there's a shape on the top here, and I think again just shape, not necessarily texture down here as well. So it's kind of iffy on that. All of this like rib looking bone like stuff is great. Also the ethereal flame stuff looks great. For the guy, he is like awesome because he has like no skin, so he's just all like nasty muscle that's just kind of going around looking gross. He's got like rib stuff there. He's like, his face is deformed as he's shouting out, and he's holding up his like weird bone scythe thing. Very skinny, but do you see that? In fact, you can probably hear that. That's ABS. So this is ABS here. So his hand here, and you can see the difference. See, this is what I was talking about before. You see how matte this is and how shiny this is? 100% ABS, PVC. So you can see the difference there. The assembly is pretty good. It looks like it probably needed to be a slight bit more up. There's a little bit of a gap there. Very much not noticeable, especially from this side. It's really only from the back. You can kind of see the offset slightly, but I'm glad they did this all ABS so they could get it this skinny. It's such an important dynamic part of the Mini, so that's really cool to see. Then you have this tail, which is a very neat like solution to it. Like it's very, very flexible, as you can see, more than even normal PVC. It's like a different kind of plastic. This is almost like what you would get a toy out of. It's very interesting. I wonder what they call it necessarily. It looked like it might be broken, but I don't think it is. I think it just ends there. One thing that this kind of plastic does tend to do, and you'll see this on like your children's toys too, is it'll have a little bit more of a mold line. So you'll see in here, there's all this like little bit of mold line. It's not too bad. He's supposed to be gunky anyway, so I don't think it doesn't detract from it at all. You only notice it really close up. But it allowed this like flexible, skinny, spiky tail whip thing to come out, and I think in a really cool way. So very cool. I like this one a lot. This is super cool. All right, next up we got this one. I might need to zoom out slightly on this, just a bit. Okay, so we're getting big here. All right, so again, base completely flat, solid ABS there, which is really nice and helpful. Actually, it's like really nice. I wish all the menus were like that. Again, very large people here. I'm assuming it's some kind of like ethereal thing versus like a ghostly thing versus like real people, because obviously they're not proportioned right there, and these people are larger than life as well. But it's like this weird like bag over all these people that look like they're probably trying to get out. I don't know, there's like feet hanging out and faces showing up and arms coming out. It's not too thick. It's actually a pretty good thickness, I would say. Maybe a little thick, but just slightly. Otherwise, I think it looks totally fine there. It's actually pretty good. All these feet and hands coming out, poking out. It looks like this is what is that, like an arm? It's like part of an arm coming out there. Oh yeah, look, there's his face coming out at the end there, like getting pooped out. So that's a thing. The texture on the cloth looks great. Looks really, really good. So now let's talk about the like beast itself. So all these little pustule things, disgusting. Turned out really well, I think. They turned out really good. You can see them all here on the front, mostly. A little bit of a mold lines here. You can kind of see that kind of throughout in a little bit of ways. But then he also has like this scraggly looking fur stuff going on. These belts look great. All the little holes and stuff there look really good. The chains with like the spikes, that's super cool. The mouth, again, not really textured in the mouth, but otherwise, I think it looks great. The tongue, the teeth, all that looks good. A little kind of beaver-looking kind of thing there. Again, a little bit skinnier and then goes fatter. I like the fact that the horns have like this like flare up here, though the back looks to be mostly devoid of texture. Would have been nice to add a little bit of texture there just to make it look a little bit better. These tentacles, those look cool. I'm assuming they're tentacles, I mean, not like horns, but they might be other horns. Very hairy in the back, but still all these pustules. Again, look at them like bulging out here in the tail. It's disgusting. It's like one of the grossest things ever. It's like wrapped, and it looks like they're about to pop, like giant pimples. This dead guy here, not having a great time. He's had better days. So yeah, he's just accepted his fate, I think. The skulls on the spikes here are super cool. I like the fact that instead of just going through, they're also going through on the side as well, like through their temple kind of thing. That's kind of cool. I dig that. Maybe a little bit of flatness here. And a little bit of thickness here that I don't think it needs to quite be that thick. It could have been made a little bit skinnier. The assembly overall is pretty good. There's maybe a slight more grabs here. It's definitely a more complex build, right, with all these different pieces here to assemble. But overall, I think that ended up quite well. For this guy here, he's disgusting, of course. He's got his little staff thing out with this little lantern thing flowing back, wrapped face and all that. He's obviously gross as well. He's got like these weird gross spurt stuff going on there on his shoulder there. It's disgusting. And then he has this like cape that just like, or not cape, but like this like cloth that's all ratted and like tattered and it's just flowing out of him in a really gross way. Cool mini. I like this one a lot, actually. There's a few points where I'd maybe a little bit more detail. Like this guy maybe could have had a tiny bit more. But other than that, it's actually pretty darn cool. I think, anyway. I think he's awesome. He's disgusting, but I think that works for him. Okay, so the big one. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out right now. All right. There it is. So yeah, very cool. They didn't flare it out. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't. And it looks like, okay, so she needs to be glued a little bit there. Again, it was shipped differently than normal. So I'll glue that on, but just ignore her kind of wobbling there. Wow. Okay, that is a dragon, that is for sure. I'm actually really glad it's in like this. It's still big, it's still cool, but it's not like Joan of Arc where it won't ever fit back in a box. This actually does kind of fit nicely, so it can fit in a box, which is nice. Though, you got stuff like this, you may as well display it. That's freaking awesome. That is super cool. Okay, so building, obviously very cool. I love that it's like, grabbing like the face here and stuff like that. It's all tattered and like slanted and stuff. That eye looks super cool. It's all like almost Egyptian looking, kind of like. So there's maybe a little bit of assembly there. It could have been pushed down slightly more there. This one looks to be fairly solid. Yeah, that one looks good. Texture on the wings, super cool. I dig that. Like, that is just going to paint up beautifully. I like these little attention to detail, too. There's little kind of marks and spots there. Very cool. It has these really nice like spikes that are very separated. I think it would have been a very easy thing to just try and do like almost a texture, right? But instead, each one of these is kind of individually done, I think, in a very cool way. The tatters here, it's not even, super cool there. On the back, you can see more crumbling as well. The assembly here is pretty good. Maybe a little bit of too big of a spot there, but overall fine. Texture on the back leg, that's cool. I dig that. Texture on the tail, also very nice. I like this little like hook part here. That's cool. And then these spikes coming out in the middle, on the sides, kind of haphazardly everywhere, all the way down the back. That's nice too. The ones on the legs are super cool. It looks like this right here is perhaps not assembled necessarily the best. There's a little bit of a ridge here that I don't think should be there. But I think that's about it. This one looks a little bit better there. While we're looking in the back, the cape here with the detail work on there, super cool. This is super detailed, and this is only slightly detailed. I would have liked them to be the same. In fact, I'd like this to be a little bit more pronounced. Maybe as much as that. Maybe not. Maybe almost in between. So I'll show you what I'm kind of looking at here. So it gets really faint right here. So ideally, it's there to guide your brush, right? But this isn't going to guide anything. Your brush is going to do whatever. What's nice about her connection point just being here and here is you can actually like freeze it and take her off and see it really easily and be able to paint her really easy. So that's nice too. Before we move on, inside of the wing here, there was a little like where the runner went, where like it was injection and like it goes through these little tubes and then fills in a cavity. Well, that's kind of the spot there. It's nice and hidden in there. Being shadow, you can clean up a little bit, I think, pretty easy. There's another one there. Another one there. Again, they would have needed a lot of plastic and another one there. So they were kind of made in the same kind of way. Textured throughout, though. Looks really good. Maybe a little tiny bit smooth there. But otherwise, very good. Even all the way down into here, I think it's good. In fact, even the assembly back there, really, really nice. Okay, so we'll talk about this little post here. So I don't think it's very noticeable. Ideally, it would have been clear instead of plastic, my opinion. But they contacted me because they were like, we're kind of concerned people won't like because it's so thick. First of all, it's definitely not the first thing I notice in this. You're especially in game, you're going to be looking at it kind of like this, right? Like you're not going to see it at all. It's actually a pretty good spot for that. It's only when you look on the side that you see it. And again, you're so drawn to here and to there, but it is, I don't know if it's necessarily too thick. It would have been nice if it was clear instead of gray. I think that's really the main thing there. You want that support, because even if it's connected here, and here, there would be a little bit of give there. I'm kind of in support of that. I think they could have maybe done it without it. Maybe if they had made the knees bend a bit more and connected the knees as well, that could have helped. But there's such a separation here that I would worry there was maybe a little bit of give there, just because of how heavy this is. Because this is one of the heaviest models I have. This is solid. There's no hollowing in here at all. This is a solid hunk of plastic. Okay, so arms. The scales, I think, came out great. The transition from that to the skin looks really good. This kind of like cool outcropping thing here, and then you can see it kind of goes under here too. You can see the same thing here. This like skin kind of flag stuff looks cool. Obviously, the excessive amount of spikes up front, and then of course the dragon head. Super cool. Mouth hugely open, textured on top. Really appreciate that. Tongue's textured as well. This like flap is. All the teeth are looking great. Top and bottom jaw. All of this looks good. Definitely the attention to detail is here. And in fact, I almost want to say it's ABS. Oh, no, it's not. No, because otherwise that wouldn't be so bendy. So they do have these two little things here that actually aren't too bad. It looks a little bit more shiny. Maybe it's a little bit more ABS. Maybe it is, and I'm just bending the ABS, but normally it turns white when you bend it. Either way, it looks great. It looks really good, and that's really the focal point of the Mini. Her up here, very cool pose, obviously, right? And again, she would be slightly pushed in like this, right? And maybe having her knee connected would have helped a little bit, but I think as long as both feet are in there, then you're good. She is a mix. This is all ABS, so this is nice and straight here, and that's thanks to the ABS. Because it's ABS, they actually could have gone a little bit skinnier on there. Oh yeah, see, there's even like some give there. It's such a big Mini. But I think it's fine how it is. I think it looks okay. For her Her hand is probably the least good thing about it, just because again it's a small hand made by E-Star, so it's just kind of up like that, but it's all right. Her facial features though look great. Her armor is nice and textured. That looks super cool. Very small texture though. Again, it's kind of a small character. The hair looks good. The crown looks awesome. There is a little bit of a gap here for the assembly, so you'd probably want to fill that up. But other than that, I mean, this is a cool freaking mini. So I actually bought a copy, and I'm happy I did now because this looks awesome. Yeah, this is super cool. I really like this. So that is Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse. Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness Apocalypse. That's the full name of it. It's quite the name. It's quite the game. If you played Chronicles of Drunagor and you liked it, you're gonna love this. I've again, just of what I've played, it's such a clear improvement over the first one. If you didn't like Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness, Apocalypse might change your mind. It's honestly a lot better and more well done. Though maybe the game just isn't for you. Either way, let me know your thoughts on all this. Let me know your thoughts on these. I know there was some contention around like some really kind of shoddy photographs of these. And of course, comparing those to like the resin, that was kind of a weird resin anyway, because it had like posts and everything like that. For board game minis, I am very happy with these. I think these look awesome. These look super cool. This is more detailed than the Joan of Arc dragon that everybody's happy with. So I have no problem with that at all. But you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. I will be playing this. I will be reviewing this. Stay tuned for that. As always, I also have Dante, the demo box. I'll be showing that off here soon as well. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't. Guys, thank you so much for this very long unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a blast. Have a great day. Take care. Bye, guys.